everybody, welcome back to my garden. I hope yours are doing well. I am super excited today because I'm going to be finally harvesting my container potatoes. As you can probably see, they are looking a little worse for wear here. And that's nothing to worry about. They're not diseased, they haven't been ravaged by bugs. They are simply ready to come out of the ground. Now, of course, if they were to become all brown and withered earlier in the season, say May, June, then maybe you have something to worry about. But because it is August, they are withering around the time that they're supposed to wither, which is when the potatoes are ready to come out. So, let's harvest some potatoes. So I've turned you around so that we have some better lighting. You can see this green tarp that I have on the ground. I put this down just so that when I upend my containers, I can actually reserve the soil and mushroom compost because it is still very valuable and I want to be able to throw it back into my garden. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and remove my straw mulch. Straw mulch was there as an additional way of covering any potatoes that might burst the surface of the soil without having to add more soil, because of course I wanted it to remain light enough that I could heave it onto this tarp, that I could move it short distances, and putting more soil would have just made that impossible. And that was important because we don't want potatoes getting sunburned. If the potatoes are exposed to sun, they end up turning green, and that means that they have a compound in them that makes them really kind of yucky for us. I hesitate to say toxic because I'm pretty sure it's not deadly, but it will certainly make you very sick. If you're ever harvesting potatoes and there's one that maybe burst through the surface and has turned green from sun, don't eat it, throw it away. It's just no good. So pretty much all of the straw that I was able to get out is gone, so I'm gonna put that aside because that's not gonna go back into my garden, that's gonna go into my compost pile. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and pull out the plants. So here's one that I pulled out. There weren't any potatoes attached to this except for this really, really tiny one right here. That's okay because oftentimes potatoes actually separate and are in the surrounding soil. So once I take out these plants, then I'll just upend the whole bucket. So I'm gonna throw that with my straw because that's gonna go on my compost pile. So I pulled this out a little slower because I felt like there were some things attached. Here are two very tiny potatoes. That's okay that they're this small, it just means that they're going to be really tender. So I'll just throw those aside. And here is my, last two plants, I guess. Add another nice little potato, that'll be nice and tender. Wow, I was just moving the soil aside. Look what I found. That is a nice sized potato. I mean, still not huge, but I'm totally happy with that. I'm just doing another little search just in case I find something near the surface, and here we go, here's another one. This is even bigger than the last one actually. Here, I'll compare. So this is what I originally pulled out, and this is what I just pulled out. Hopefully you can see the difference in size there, so that's promising. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna dump this whole thing on the tarp. Right away, here's a little potato that fell out. This is kind of cute. It's like in a little kidney shape. Definitely, if you guys are new to gardening, I highly recommend starting out with potatoes because potatoes are just so much fun. You know, it's like an Easter egg hunt. Here is actually a little potato. This is a different type. I had red potatoes, I guess, and I had these other fingerling potatoes. A long, skinny potato. Another nice sized red potato. A tiny little fingerling potato. I finished sorting through the dirt of that first container, and this is what we have. It's not what I was hoping for from a single container, but that's still a decent amount of potatoes. It'll suffice for a dinner, I think. Hopefully when I go to my 2 other containers, they'll have a little bit more. But still, for a first time growing potatoes in a container, this is decent. Here's my second container. So again, I'm going to go ahead and remove the straw mulch. So pulling out this plant, I immediately found a small little fingerling potato and a slightly bigger fingerling potato. Oh, so this last plant looks promising. Just attached to the plant, I found 7 decent-sized fingerling potatoes, so those will be very nice. Right away, I spot a very nice red potato. This has to be the biggest yet. Oh, wow, nice. Fingerling potato. Ooh, very nice fingerling potato. Another fingerling potato. Little tiny red potato. As you can see, there's quite a lot more growth here, and it was also a lot heavier, so I'm hoping, my fingers are crossed, that that means there are more potatoes. Whoa. Okay. Here's already a small little potato. 2 decent-sized fingerlings, and right here we have a really nice red. So I'm thinking that I might do red again next year, just because those seem to have given me some really nice sized potatoes. By the way, I found a decent-sized red. A very nice sized fingerling potato. I think that's probably one of my better sizes. Woo! Nice red one. And there you have it. That's my potato harvest from my 3 containers of potatoes. Not excellent, but not bad either. It is my first time growing in containers. I think definitely next year I will put a little bit of fertilizer earlier on. This year I didn't really put fertilizer until later in the season, so definitely that's something to think about next year. But all in all, I'm okay with this because I think it'll give us a good solid 4 days of side dishes. Maybe some of them will be smaller, but that's okay. We'll just make more veggies. Still, 3-4 days of food. That's decent. But what's great about this is that the containers aren't actually my only potato plants. Right now we're going to go over to some potato plants that actually popped up. I didn't plant them this year. It popped up in the spot where I'd grown potatoes last year, and so clearly I hadn't harvested all the potatoes from last year, and some of them popped up in the spring. So we're going to go check those out. So here in this corner of the garden was where I grew potatoes last year, and this spring I was very pleased to find that a bunch of potato plants had come up. Clearly it is time to dig them up and see what I find. Get my trowel under, see if I can... Oh, damn. You see, you have to be careful with shovels or trowels because sometimes you might accidentally spear your potatoes. So that's disappointing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go and get a larger shovel. Okay, I've got my shovel now. And here we go. That was clearly a good idea. Here's a small potato right there. Ooh-wee. 2 nice small potatoes. I think I like the container potatoes a little better just because you can just dump the container on a tarp and sort through it and find your potatoes. This is way it's a little more labor intensive. So from that single plant I got 3 nice small potatoes and a bigger potato that I accidentally cut a piece off. That's okay, we'll just have to use it immediately. I'll wash it off, get all the dirt off, and we'll just use it immediately. Not a huge harvest, but this was a plant that I did not pay to plant. This plant just came up on its own, so free food, I'll take it. Ooh, this one is definitely going to be a lot better. There's 2 right there. There's a piece of one that I clearly speared. Here's the rest of it. So again, I'll just have to do something with that tonight. Here are 2 more, and those are decent sized too. Very nice sized potato here. So that was a workout, but I think I've gotten everything. Of course, it might end up being like last year and I've forgotten a few potatoes, which will hopefully keep good through the winter and then sprout again to give me some more free food next year. So that's awesome. So from these 3 plants that were just pop-ups, some people might call them rogue plants, some people might call them volunteers. I got, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 10 decent sized potatoes. So not bad for something that I paid nothing to plant. That's not the last plant that I have to harvest. I do have a few in the back. So onwards and upwards.
So back here you can see that I already took out a couple potatoes on the right there, just in front of my lemon balm plant. That's just because the plants were so brown looking a week or so ago that I figured it was probably best just to dig them up and see what's there. And I actually posted a picture on my Instagram of the potatoes that I got. On the left there is a row of potatoes, but I find that they're still quite green and lively looking, so I figure that we can probably leave them in for another week or so. But behind the lemon balm plant, those potato plants are looking done. So it's a bit difficult to see, but there are some potato plants along this row that are pretty much withered, so I'm gonna just go ahead and pull them out. So I'm gonna start here right by the lemon balm plant, which by the way smells so good. Ugh. And I'm gonna start off by removing all this straw. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these plants out. Got one potato. Two more, and one of them I unfortunately speared. Decent one. So for some reason my camera stopped shooting, but I basically found just a kind of handful of potatoes, some of them which I unfortunately cut in half. So I'm just gonna put my dirt back in place. So this is my group of potatoes that I dug up from my back row. As you can see, quite a few of them I've cut in half. Definitely the ones that I've cut in half I can use tonight, so I'll be prepared. I have a significant amount, so I'll be preparing potatoes with our dinner tonight. So that finishes my potato harvest for today. As I said, there is still a row that I'm going to give maybe a week or a week and a half before I harvest, so I'll probably do another video. If not, I'll put it on my Instagram. You don't have a solid timetable for potatoes. You don't just harvest them at a particular time. You always watch the plant and wait until it starts to wither and turn brown, and that's when you know the potatoes are ready to come out. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy gardening!